I condemn all sexual harassment done by Connor Browne. But I consider Nervous Conditions to be both an important chapter in Black Country New Road's history, as well as just a good band. So if it weren't for that, I don't think I would be covering Nervous Conditions. If you don't know about what happened to Nervous Conditions, then I recommend that you do your own research on it. But long story short, the lead singer, Connor Browne, was accused of bad things I mentioned previously, as well as just being a bad person in general. The band was made up of all Black Country New Road members except for Luke, as well as second drummer Johnny Pike, and lead singer and second guitarist Connor Browne. I know that most people typically think of Nervous Conditions more as like an off branch of Black Country New Road that doesn't really need to be listened to. And I see where that take is coming from, but I think that from a background and sound point of view, that Nervous Conditions is kind of essential into understanding Black Country New Road, specifically their period of music before For the First Time was released. So this video I'm going to talk about what I think is the live album released by Nervous Conditions. I don't know if it's a live album or a bootleg album or whatever. It's either Untitled or self-titled. I'm just going to refer to it as the Nervous Conditions album, which includes the songs The President, PS Time, Zach's Anniversary, The Hum, Followed, Kicked In, and Sussex Law. First and foremost, the elephant in the room is Connor Browne's performance, which is easily the most polarizing thing about Nervous Conditions other than the shitty things that he did. It really seems to me, from what I've heard online, that his performance either really works for people or absolutely doesn't work for people. For me, it absolutely works. But I have to specify that this album is his recorded performance. But when actually watching Nervous Conditions perform live, yikes, man. This guy is one of the most uncomfortable stage presences I have ever seen. He's super awkward and just acts weird as hell. And there's nothing wrong with acting weird as hell as long as it's entertaining. In his case, it just isn't entertaining. That being said, I do really love his vocals, which I think fit perfectly for the band's sound. If you know early Black Country, and I mean even before For the First Time was released, this is definitely much more in line with that sound than anything post For the First Time. This just seems like a lot of intricate and very punchy post-punk mixed with genres like no wave and post-rock. The drumming on this album, oh my god, it's just worship-worthy. Having two drummers on this album is just absolutely mesmerizing to listen to. And the grooves that the two of them come up with, as well as one of the drummers being fucking Twain, it's just blessed. I want to note that in terms of the whole Black Country timeline, this project easily has my least favorite song, which is the song Zach's Anniversary, which is just so tedious and annoying to listen to. I think that this is the only song where Connor's vocals don't really work. But honestly, I don't really blame him, because the whole song doesn't work. The President is one hell of an opener, just absolutely brimming with anxiety. If you know early Black Country, you know that those songs also typically have a sound that is very reminiscent of the anxiety of early adulthood and late teens. I personally much prefer this version of The President compared to an earlier version of The President, mainly because of the lyrics. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that I understand what any of the lyrics on this album are talking about. They are incredibly cryptic, and I have no idea what Connor was going for on any song on the album in terms of the lyrics. But comparing the President's lyrics on this Nervous Conditions project compared to the other live version, specifically a live version that I saw them perform at the Windmill, I definitely prefer these. They are just so much more infectious, even if I don't understand them. They do seem to make a lot more sense and are a lot less aimless than the Windmill performance version of the song. PS Time was definitely the first song that just really caught my ear when I first listened to the album. It immediately opens up with this super dark bass line. It then expands to having my favorite lyrics, my favorite vocals, besides the ending of one song, which I will get to later, my favorite drumming, which I'm pretty sure is meant to replicate the sound of a watch, but a lot faster. And overall is probably just my favorite song in general on the album. It has these really cool no-wave breakdowns, which are much better and a lot more sensible than those that are on Zach's Anniversary. I'm not going to call it peak post-rock, but it's definitely close and easily my favorite song by the band. The hum is cool, just definitely my least favorite besides Zach's Anniversary. It's not bad, just not as interesting as the rest of the album. Followed Kicked In is another gem, and although I do love the ending of Time, this probably has the best build-up and ending to any song by the band, which I personally think is made by Connor's vocals, where he is just screaming, but it's super well mixed, so it's not like breaking your ears, and also I have no idea what the fuck he's saying. That is probably the best moment vocally besides what I previously mentioned on Time. And finally, the closer, Sussex Law, is another fantastic post-rock song, and although a lot tamer than Time, it still has this amazing sense of intensity. It has these absolutely fantastic build-ups, and I'm incredibly impressed by Connor's more laid-back vocals on this song, as well as the band's generally more laid-back approach. I know it's nothing like Ants From Up There, but it honestly reminds me more of something off of that album than off of For the First Time, because the intensity of the song comes from the building parts and performance rather than the mixing, which is most noticeable in the drums, Lewis Evans' saxophone, and Connor's vocals. Overall, this is definitely something you should only check out if you really love Black Country New Road, especially their early stuff. If you think that their early stuff isn't really worth much, then I think that you won't really care for this. I do think that Black Country greatly expanded upon and outdid Nervous Conditions on this sound pretty much on all fronts. Although I am sad that such a good band like Nervous Conditions had to be broken up because of one man's terrible and stupid acts. In the end, it may have given us something much, much better. Anyways, check out Black Country first, and then check out Nervous Conditions if you're interested. Thanks so much for watching.